Enzo Maresca will be Chelsea manager. Now, I'm convinced at this point that they are trying to destroy Chelsea Football Club. These owners actually are self-sabotaging on purpose. There's no way that they've hired this man over other candidates based on anything other than, buddy, you remind me of that Pep Guardiola guy. Do you play good possession soccer? We've looked at your statistics. Our leading XG files told us that you keep the ball loads and do passing triangles. Like, why have we appointed him? Hit subscribe or Chelsea will sign you next. I mean, if you squint, he looks like Pep. He's bald. He worked under Pep. That worked a bit for Arsenal. I mean, they won nothing, but maybe they're in the right trajectory. Is that our modus operandi? Is that what we're going off? Because Ten Hag is bald and worked under Pep, and look how that's turned out. I don't care that they've won 2 trophies. Everyone knows that United have been crap, and United themselves know they've been crap because they're getting rid of him. I can't make sense of this appointment. It's such a big risk at a time where you don't have room to manoeuvre, especially after 2 failed appointments and getting rid of a guy everyone loved in Thomas Tuchel. It just feels backwards upon backwards upon backwards. We made steps forward last season, towards the end of the season, salvaging it coming 6th. Now 6th is better than the previous year in 12th. I know, it is rocket science according to Clearlake. It seems to be the case because they appointed their project guy in Graham Potter. Now Graham Potter was shit. And they got rid of Graham Potter because they realised, long after we did, he was shit. So they bring in Pochettino. Now he wasn't our first pick. Luis Enrique or Nagelsmann, that's who everyone kind of wanted. That's a Roman appointment. That made a bit more sense. Nope, we're going with Pochettino. Okay, that's less bad than Potter. That's more on our wavelength as fans, as people that grew up with Roman, understanding that you appoint top managers and you get top results. But anyway, that's a bit more in line. He's kind of medium. You know, he's not really won anything of note. I'm not counting Ligue 1 with PSG. It doesn't mean much to me. But Pochettino is more in line with that. And what happens? You come 6th, so you were better. So, right, mind-blowing moment here, Clearlake. If you were to appoint people that Roman would have appointed, like a top manager, it'll be better than that. How mind-blowing. How mind-blowing is that we could be even better if you appoint an even better manager. I know. And before anyone says, oh, they're not out there, well, one they got rid of is out there. And they could win in every regard. If they were to bring back Tuchel, team gets better. You win over the fans because you're admitting you were wrong. Here you go. Here's a guy you all loved. What they care about in terms of public perception from social media and other fans would actually be like, oh, do you know what? They're actually serious. They've brought in Tuchel. They've actually upgraded. Everyone wins. Tuchel wins. Tuchel wants to come back. Like that's the most obvious win you could have. Or you go a bit more ambitious and you go, right, let's go all out for Inzaghi. Less money on some 18-year-old from Brazil this summer. Let's chuck the bag at Inter. Inter are not funding Inzaghi correctly, or he could be tempted by someone that is funding and has this young squad and how can you develop it. Someone like that would be an exciting appointment. A winner? No. Our list is for championship managers. I'm not doubting that people like McKenna and Maresca can't go on to be top managers. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they're definitely not Chelsea managers next. But apparently they are. Apparently they are. If you squint your eyes hard enough, it looks like Pep. He's bald. He worked under Pep. Okay, cool. Okay. If you are going to go that route, if Clearlake are so intent on reinventing the wheel, like they are, hey buddies, we're about to change this whole soccer game. They don't even know how genius we are. We're just going to go for it. We're going to get the fucking caretaker in here. Like, what they could have done if they were to go this route. If you want to appoint a young guy that's barely managed, why not Cesc? At least we all like Cesc. At least we look at Cesc and we go, oh, I like Cesc. He wore a magic hat. He played under Conte, Mourinho, Wenger, Pep. He's a smart player. He's a high IQ midfielder. That tends to translate quite well. Okay, it's a risk, but I'll back Cesc. Like everyone backed Frank. That was a risk with Roman, but he knew that people's love of Frank could carry them forward to support the team through a bit more thick and thin than perhaps a complete outsider in Sarri the year before, for example. It's not rocket science. It's really not, playing off the fan culture, and they can't even work that out. It's mental to me that they don't learn. Like, you did this with Potter. You did this kind of appointment with Potter. Look at it. You went half in on everyone else's idea of what a good appointment is with Poch, and it was double as good. It was 6th with some cup finals. So imagine if you went all in. You'd be back in Champions League. Your finances would be up. You'd have a chance at winning things. I don't understand it unless it's active self-sabotage. Unless the genuine goal is like, no, let's destroy this asset. We're doing a Netflix doc on how to destroy something you bought for £4 billion as quick as possible. Is that the plan? Is that the project? Is that the long-term project? Because it feels short-term project to me. It feels like they're doing it incredibly quick. Like, I don't want to be really negative towards Enzo Maresca because, like I said, look, he might be a really talented manager. He might be great. I hope he's amazing. I hope that he wins the league, Champions League, wins everything at Chelsea, and we build, and he is the next Pep. I really hope that's the case, but I'm sorry that I cannot trust the decisions of these owners when they don't learn from their past. They're continually doing this rather than just reverting to type. We know what works. We've had 20 years of it working. We know how it works. Just do that. Just stick to the blueprint. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, and they're intent on doing so. And in the process, us being the laughingstock of the Premier League. Still always winning that championship. They're the best team in the league by a distance, and they still managed to just get over the line. Despite the fact they were running away with it, the second that Leicester were worked out, they were losing games on the trot for fun. That's a worry with Enzo Maresca. It's not like a guy who's... Look, if he'd won almost every game of the entire championship season, amazing football, etc., you'd be a bit more like, okay, that makes sense. They just got over the line. They did start amazingly, but it sort of tailed off. I get it's possession football. I get he plays in triangles, but that is a concern. In terms of positives, there was an interview I saw of Enzo Maresca. I really liked that.
It's a huge game for them. For us, it's one more game.
That felt Chelsea. I like that, but he did lose that game. I'm not going to lie. However, people are doing him a bit of a disservice there. They did lose that game. I actually watched that game. I didn't watch loads and loads of Leicester last season, but I know I watched Leicester versus Leeds, nice Friday night game, and Leicester peppered Leeds. They were very unlucky to actually lose that game. It was a case that Leicester couldn't finish their dinner, but my concern there is Chelsea can't finish their dinner. So are we just hiring a guy who get our XG up? But we miss those chances anyway. So the recruitment needs to be right. It feels like this club is run by XG-dophiles. That's how it feels to me. On absolute XG-dophiles. They just look at this guy and they're like, oh, look at our data. What's he won? I know people think that's some trope and it's bad to say almost, but like, we need winners. This is Chelsea Football Club. It is. This isn't, okay, let's just give this guy a go. And if it is, our standards are in the mud. That's the case now with Chelsea. We don't need winners. What are we doing? How's anyone going to learn of anyone else what it takes to be a winner if no one's won anything? Do you know what helped a lot of those young players coming through at Chelsea? Probably the Hazards, Oscars, whatever. Being surrounded by Drogbas and Lampards, even Torres, whatever. They've been there, they've done that. John Terry there, etc. That's why even Cesc, I'm like, okay, if you want to go real risk, future project manager, whatever, Cesc is more of a bet. Like, it just feels like they're going against us or against the idea of them succeeding. Honestly, that's how it feels to me. And like I said, I don't want to be continually negative. I want this guy to succeed. I want nothing more than Chelsea Football Club to succeed. But it feels like by going their route, you won't. Because we've already seen that. It's very obvious. And it was obvious at the time whenever they've made these decisions that that's not the route to success. Don't do that. So they do that. And the fact that they're not learning is even more of a concern. Like, I'm going to have to squint my eyes all season just being like, oh, I think Pep's in charge of us. What's that? Is that 17th in the table? Well, there's a 1 there. We can just say that's first. Like, is that how we have to operate from now on? I can't make sense of it. There were several other managers you can appoint who, okay, they're risk, but they're more balanced to like Poch's level, like a De Zerbi or whatever. There's more risk there. But this is early doors in this guy's career. Really early doors. Like, another year at Leicester in the Premier League, if he'd done well, would still feel a risk. Like company going to Bayern. Everyone's like, these. Honestly, if you've worked with Pep, you've got a career in football, you're set. Doesn't matter who you are, you're set. I know people like their tactical analysis, so I'm going to make sure to show you how we might play under Enzo Maresca. Now, last season, Enzo Maresca did actually utilise inverted fullbacks. So Cucurella, that system we had towards the end of the season with Poch when we found a bit of form, that should continue. And that's hopeful, because Chelsea were good under that formation. So Enzo Maresca built up a lot with, Winks in midfield, Dewsbury would carry the ball. So what we're going to see at Chelsea a lot more, actually, will be some pinging around the back with these guys, and then you just fucking give it to Palmer. That is our football. That is all the analysis you'll have today. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. I want to blindly follow the idea that he is the new Pep. I want to blindly follow that as they have in appointing this guy. I really do. I would love to do that. But unfortunately, throughout the season, I saw a lot of Leicester fans concerned with their manager and actually wanting rid of him. Despite the fact they were top, they were still moaning about their manager. And we're going to appoint that manager. Chelsea Football Club want to appoint that manager. But this is not the club we're used to in the slightest. And before people say, oh, Chelsea back to what they were before Russian money. Chelsea, the last 7 years prior to Roman Abramovich, did not finish outside the top 6. The last 7 years of Ken Bates, Chelsea won 2 FA Cups, 2 equivalent of Carabao Cups, Super Cup, and did not finish below 6th. Came 3rd in the season that United won the treble. 4 points behind league title winning United. This is way below that. And we're shooting for managers way below that. We kind of went for project guys then, in Ruud Gullit being a player manager for a bit, Vialli. But they were, top guys that had a Chelsea affinity. They made more sense. It'd be the equivalent right now of having Silva as manager. Now, if I said to you guys, Silva's going to be manager now, bit of player manager, I think people will be more hopeful than Enzo Maresca. I'm not even taking the piss. That would be more comparable to your Gullits, your Vialis. I think people will be more behind that. They are so out of touch. And they feel that they're geniuses and they're reinventing the wheel. But in fact, everyone's just laughing at them because you had a good model to just follow already when you joined the club. You took over the world champions who'd come 3rd in the league. That's what you'd taken over. And you felt the need to just rip up everything and be these revolutionary geniuses in football that saw it all so different. And you did. You saw it all so different to everyone because everyone thought, what the fuck are you doing? I just feel lost. I feel lost with them. I feel absolutely lost with them. Just in terms of like a connectivity with the club, in terms of how your club would behave. And I'm sure other Chelsea fans feel the exact same when they're seeing these shortlists and you're thinking, what the fuck is this? And now you're seeing like, oh no, they think Enzo Maresca or Thomas Frank is the guy. And what's so mind-blowing about that shortlist actually, by the way, they want possession football, they want this, they want that. So you want Thomas Frank. Is that the same Thomas Frank we've all been watching in the Premier League the last few years? Brentford that thrive off set pieces, thrive off counter-attacks, and you want possession football, so you want Thomas Frank. Is there a different Thomas Frank? Is this a Thomas Frank from a different universe? Like, what's their logic here? What is their logic here? Does anyone understand it? With Enzo Maresca, it's, does this football translate? He plays possession football. He was at a top side in the Championship. Will that work on top players over here? Well, you've got a different issue here. And this is what I don't think they consider when they went for Potter. They didn't consider, and they didn't learn from it, it seems. And it's something you also have to consider when you're talking about McKenna's or Maresca's. Do these ideas translate onto players with a lot higher egos? I'm not saying these aren't nice people, these footballers, by the way, that are Chelsea at all. What I'm saying is, naturally, at top clubs, the egos are higher. They've signed for Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea Football Club, they were Champions League winners not long ago. They're until I think just overtaken it, the most successful English club this century. Champions Leagues, Europa Leagues, FA Cups. That Chelsea, that's what they've signed for. I know they've signed for this project, but if you don't deliver those sort of things, they're going to piss off. They're not going to be here. And they're probably expecting to further their careers working under the best managers in the world, which Chelsea have always employed. And you think they're not going to question at all a dude who just comes in from Leicester? He was just Pep's assistant? Okay, yeah, look, 4 years into it, Arteta's players are bought in. 4 years into it. When they were 8 for 2 years, I don't think people were buying in quite so much. Maybe some signs. Maybe some players were. Not everyone. There's going to be a lot of players that look at this. Players who haven't signed for Chelsea, they look at it and think, oh, I would have gone there, but looks a bit of a risk. And not just a bit of a risk, a big risk. We're a big risk. That's currently what we are, feels like. We've got these young talents coming in, which are exciting. I don't know if they'll work under Maresca. Who's next after Maresca? Maybe they will go for Cesc after Maresca. I don't know. I don't know how long he'll be here. They'll say project or whatever, but it's meaningless. It's meaningless. The last 2 managers they've had have been with the idea of having a project. At least Roman was like, well, it's not going to last forever. We hope that it lasts like 3-4 years. That's cool. Like 3 and a bit years was Mourinho's longest stint actually under Abramovich. But it was never going to last forever. These guys are like, we're going to do 7-year deals. Okay. And then they're gone after 8 months. So you're treating project managers like you would elite managers under Roman. Wouldn't it make more sense just to do that with elite managers? Just hire them until they work, and then you get rid of them when they don't. That's how Roman operated. Real Madrid have pretty much operated for years, right? That's the method. Or you stick with your project manager and you hire the right one. You just hire the wrong ones and then they don't stick with them anyway. So it's all just meaningless. It's all pointless. It's just a waste of time that sets us back further and further. I'm going to head off. I'm going to have I might have a big drink, and maybe I'll get to the point that Enzo Maresca actually does look like Pep Guardiola. Maybe that's how I'm going to convince myself. I'm just going to squint watch Chelsea all season. Anyway, I'm mind blown by this decision. I'm mind blown by Chelsea Football Club a lot of the time recently. I think we all are. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what your thoughts are, who you thought should have been the manager, who you think will be the next manager. Do you think we'll win the league under Maresca? Give me some positivity, guys. Give me some positivity, because I'm not feeling it at the moment. But yeah, let me know. It would mean a lot. Make sure to hit like, hit subscribe. Up the Chelsea.